Ever feel like life throws you curveballs you just weren't ready for? Yeah, me too. And that is the heart of Dear God. Hey, I'm KB, and this is the podcast where we talk openly about the messy, beautiful, and sometimes chaotic reality of faith and life. Here we get to dive into the tough questions, the awkward moments, and the incredible grace that gets us through it all. So if you're looking for real talk, real connection, and a reminder that you are not alone, you found your tribe. Let's dive in. Hey everyone, welcome back to Their God podcast. It is so good to be back with you all. Oh my God, we had a break on here. I know. Life is happening again. But we move. We have to move. Hey, I hope this year has given you moments of reflection, a chance to pause and appreciate the journey that you are on. You guys, we are in the 8th month already. I don't even know what to think, or I don't even know how to feel about that. We are in the 8th month already. But hey, whether it's been smooth sailing or a bit of a roller coaster, I just really hope that you found glimmers of God's presence along the way. So it's the final episode of the series. I know we shouldn't have done these things, but I'm so happy I'm finally able to do this, because concluding this series almost became impossible. Again, life happening. But we what? We move. We are moving. And today we are exploring another concept. The last, actually. See, this list of what God is not cannot be exhausted. And I just hope all of the episodes have blessed you so far, and you've been able to see God in a different light, or even a broader one, depending on the stage that you are at in life. This final episode, as usual, is one that can revolutionize our relationship with God, and that is the understanding that God is not cast in stone. Ding, 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 ding. Now, I know the phrase might sound a little unusual, so I will do the honors, as always. Okay, so when we say something is cast in stone, it's an idiom that means something is fixed, unchangeable, or, permanently established. It's not subject to amendments, basically, or any form of alteration. Hence, it cannot be changed. So when we say God is not cast in stone, we are saying something really profound, really powerful. We're saying that even though his ways are his ways, even though he is faithful to his word, and even though his standards are unshakable, he himself is not rigid, inflexible, or even bound by a particular pattern. And I really think that God saw that this would be a challenge for us from the very beginning. He knew we would somehow struggle to understand his multifaceted nature. And so, what did he do? He took a radical step by tearing down the curtain of the holies of holies from top to bottom, giving everyone open access to his presence and making it possible for us to boldly, come into his presence or come before him. And this is really where this episode comes in. You see, many of us see God like we see our earthly fathers. Now, why that perception has some merit to it, God is so much more. He's beyond our earthly understanding. We most often project our limited human experience onto him, thinking he wants us to speak to him in a particular way, maybe pray in a specific style, dress, look, and, act in a manner we deem appropriate. So we create this rigid image of God based on our own limited perception. And I think I love the experience of the Israelites so much, because if there was a category of people that enjoyed the unrigid nature of God firsthand, it was the Israelite. They would sin against God, facing the consequences of their action, but at the mere mention of God, we are sorry, forgive us, his punishment will just cease like it was never there. And we see this pattern repeatedly in Exodus. Yet, even that wasn't enough for God. The Old Testament was a testament of law, and we know that it was a system that could not be broken without severe consequences. And God yearned for a deeper connection with humanity. He wanted to speak to each of us directly without the need for intermediaries or any elaborate rituals. He wanted us to experience him as a close friend, someone closer than a brother. But you see, this kind of relationship could not fully flourish under the strict law, and God wasn't having it anymore. And so, as I like to say, in his infinite wisdom and love, he changed the pattern. What did he do again? He sent his son Jesus to bridge the gap, to fulfill the law, to offer us a new way, a way of grace, a way of direct access to his presence, which brought about the crucifixion and the tearing of the temple curtain, a symbolic gateway to a new relationship with God. Why am I doing all of this explanation? Look, as Christians, I really believe our relationship with God becomes so much richer when we prioritize friendship with him. Instead of seeing him as an unapproachable, distant being, we can connect with him on a personal level. Do you have a problem? Essentially, what I'm saying is, you don't have to wait until you are in your prayer closet to kneel down and lift up holy hands. He's there. Just talk to him already. Talk to him while you're bathing. Talk to him whilst you're driving, while you're cooking, when you're working, anytime, any place, everywhere. Just be in constant communication with your daddy. That's what friends do, actually. And if you let me paint a small picture in your head, girls do this a lot. It's kind of like a girl's thing more than it's a guy thing. So, when you have these close friends, most times it's always a circle of three. You have 3 people on the WhatsApp page and they're like, your close circle. And at every point when something happens to you, you just want to send a message to your friend. You just want to place a group call, across to say, oh, this thing has happened. I met this guy. He said this, or this did that did this. Essentially, you're always communicating on the go. In the bus, you are texting. In the toilet, you are laughing, you are gisting. In the kitchen, you are gossiping about something. Basically, you're always sharing your emotions, whether it is the right time or not. So long you feel like it, you just, let your friend know about this particular information. Now, that's what building a relationship is about. You see, when I discovered this truth, it transformed my prayer life. I think that I stopped feeling guilty if I did not have time for a formal morning prayers with God. Instead, what I'll do would be I'll talk to him throughout my morning routine. And you know what? It was sweeter and more intimate, or it is sweeter and more intimate. It felt like he was right there with me, listening and responding just like a close friend would. Now, disclaimer. This doesn't mean we should not set aside dedicated time to be with God in prayer and study. Those moments are important. Let me scream that again. Those moments are important. Those moments are essential. Those moments are very, very vital for your spiritual growth. But at the same time, it is important to be aware of the enemy's streak. That's really what this episode is about. The enemy wants us to see God as a rigid, unapproachable boss who demands specific rituals and, performances, who likes his coffee served in a particular way or style. He wants to keep us at a distance, filled with guilt and fear. But the truth is, this boss in question longs to connect with us in every moment of our lives. This boss does not mind gisting and sharing some little gossips here and there, or even taking that early morning walk or jogs with us. As a matter of fact, when you are at your lowest and seem to be the world's greatest sinner, that's when this boss is most interested in you. He wants to share your joy. He wants to share our sorrows. He wants to share our triumphs, our failures. He basically wants to share everything with us. He wants to walk alongside us, offering us guidance and support every step of the way. This particular boss is not cast in stone. He likes to be worshipped in grand style and with reverence, yes, but also as a friend. It is true that he wants to be spoken with utmost respect, but also like the way a child would speak to her father. Basically, what I'm saying is, his laws are unchangeable, but his heart is never rigid towards us. And that is why no matter how many times you fall, he is patiently waiting to pick you back up. I dare say this boss is not a one-dimensional being. He's not just a consuming fire or a punisher of sin or a fierce warrior, all those big things. Yes, he is all of those things. He is definitely all of those things. But at the same time, he is love. He is compassion. He is mercy. He is grace. He is sweetness. He's not some, rigid statue, some great God looking to, when I say the great God with a small g, just fixed somewhere looking for you to come bow at and do some specific things every now and then. Basically, what I'm saying for the billionth time is he is not rigid. He is not fixed because he is a friend, because he's a father, because he's a comforter, a guide. Yes, he's complex, multifaceted, and beyond our full comprehension. But the beautiful thing is he meets us where we are. He relates to us in the way we need him the most. He's not rigid, again, for the 100th time. He is adaptable. He is very willing to come down to your level, to meet you in your messiness, in your brokenness, and in your humanity, even when he is in a class of his own, knowing fully well that does not change his divine nature. And as my mentor will say, nothing you do can ungod him, disgod him, or regard him. Let me say it out loudly again. Nothing you do can ungod him, disgod him, or regard him. God's essence, his character, his love, these things are just unchanging. He is who he is, yesterday, today, and forever. And that is the beautiful thing about seeing God as one who is not cast in stone. It begins to basically help you see him not as your spare tire, but as your only tire. You see him not as a magician, but the mighty God who is able to do anything and everything. You begin to see him as your priority and not an option, as the only way and not a way. Look, the list of what God is not cannot be exhausted again. But listen, the side of God you choose to focus on is often the side you would experience. I just want to say that again. The side of God you choose to focus on is often the side you would experience. If you only see him as a distant, judgmental God, that's how you relate with him. But if you open your heart to his multifaceted nature, you will discover the depth of his love, his grace, his unwavering presence. And remember, no matter how much you know about God, the enemy can twist even the most profound truth for his own purpose. And that's why it's crucial to constantly seek God's wisdom and discernment. So today, as we wrap up, I'm asking you, how do you see God? Is he cast in stone in your mind? Is he a distant, unapproachable being? Or is he your friend, your father, your constant companion? This week, I challenge you to just shift your perspective just a little. See God in all of his fullness, in all of his complexity, in all of his love. And you can do this by spending time just reflecting on the image of God. So when you think of God, basically, what comes to mind when you think of him? Are those images based on fear or are they based on love? Try as much as possible to study different aspects of God's character. Explore the scripture to see the many ways God reveals himself or has revealed himself in time past. Talk to God like a friend. Share your joys, share your sorrows, your fears, your dreams, and cultivate a relationship with the Holy Spirit. Look, just allow him guide you. Just allow him comfort you. Allow him reveal God's truth to you. So as you pray tonight, ask God to reveal himself to you in a new way. Ask him to break down any rigid image you may have of him and to show you the depth of his love and compassion. And I just think that this is a good place to start by saying, Dear God, thank you for your multifaceted nature. Thank you for being a God of love, a God of grace, and a God of compassion. Guys, it's been so beautiful doing this series with you. I hope you've had the chance to drink from all of the different dimensions of God. I hope that with this series you've been able to unlearn, relearn, and learn a bit about a couple things that God is not. Again, the list cannot be exhausted. But I hope that with a few on the table, you have been able to reflect on how you treat this being that you call God. And as I noted when we began, we all do a lot of trying to know God and the things he can do. And it's very amazing. It is very beautiful. But what about the things he is not and cannot do? What about the lies the enemy has placed on our hearts, which for some of us has made us despise God just because we were expecting him to do something which he simply can and will never do, just because of his nature? The goal of this was to be an eye-opener for you and to strengthen your love for and perception of him. So if you have not listened to previous episode or it's your first time, welcome. I'm so glad to have you join the tribe. You can catch up on all our previous episodes on Spotify, Apple Podcast, and any of your favorite streaming platform. You can also find me via our newsletter and on Instagram at deargod.pod. It's KB here. I'm your host, and it's been a wonderful time doing this with you. I shall see you in the next episode, but until then, Shalom, shalom. And that's it for today's episode, but the conversation doesn't have to end here. If this spoke to you, DM or tag Dear God on Instagram at deargod.pod. I'd love to hear your thoughts. And hey, if this blessed you, take a moment to share it with a friend or leave a quick review so we can reach out to more people like us. Remember, you can catch all episodes on Spotify, Apple Podcast, or any of your favorite streaming platforms. I'm so grateful for each of you and Dear God Tribe. And until next time, keep seeking, keep trusting, and remember, God is not done with your story yet. Shalom, shalom.